Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about 8 of my top priority series for 2023. We are getting into the time of year now where I'm going to be doing my kind of anticipatory videos for 2023. So we'll have ones like this one, the ongoing series that I have open, 23 books I want to read in 2023, most anticipated fantasy releases for 2023. Lots of good and fun videos on the horizon over the next couple of weeks, and then we kind of make our way into the wrap-up videos. So this is basically like the most fun time to be making videos for BookTube and also to be watching videos on BookTube. I just like this time of year in the BookTube world. And I thought a good video to kick off that little mini series would be the top priority series I have for next year. These are series that I have not started, so I have a bunch of ongoing series, some that I have made, more progress with than others, but these are the ones that I haven't started, I've been thinking about for a long time, and I really want to get into reading. If there's anything on this list that you think is missing, something that I've talked about reading, or you're wondering if I'm going to read, feel free to let me know. But when I was sitting down and trying to put this together, these are the ones that kind of popped into my mind the quickest. And the very first one on the list is the Books of Babel series. So this, if you have been on the channel for a while, you know that this was also on the series I wanted to start in 2022 list. And I started all the other series on that list, but for some reason, Books of Babel was the one that had been left out. And I don't know if it was because of the kind of dip in hype that happened when the final book came out, and some people were still really liking it, but there were a lot of people who really didn't like it. And I don't know if that killed my momentum for a minute, but it did not change my mind about wanting to read the series. I still really want to read it, and I am hopeful that I will fall on the side of people who enjoy the ending. I like my preferences in book endings are not typical. For example, I really like Stephen King's book endings, and he is kind of unanimously known in the book world for having terrible endings. I tend to really like them. So the things that appeal to people about the ending of a series aren't always things that I need. So hopefully the ending to the Books of Babel series will be one that resonates with me. But I really, really want to read this. I'm hopeful that I'm going to like it. I am hopeful that it is going to become a favorite series. And I'm just looking for some fantasy books that have that kind of odd, mystical, kind of whimsical vibe. And everything that I have heard about the Books of Babel makes it feel like, to me, it is going to be in that category. So looking forward to that one. That one I am hoping to start right at the beginning of the year. So this is probably like the highest priority of the high priority series. After Books of Babel, we have Natural History of Dragons by, I think, Marie Brennan. This one is also very high priority. So this is a fantasy series that is written as if it were a work of nonfiction. So it's written almost like a field guide or a naturalist's guide to dragons. And I believe they're either like the memoirs or the leftover scientific papers of a female naturalist who studies the field of dragons. And I have heard that this female character is delightful, that you will fall in love with her, that her narration is fun and quirky, and it's just really fun to be inside her head. So very much looking forward to that one. And this is one that is going to be one of my audiobook series for 2023 because I have heard really good things about the audiobooks, and I actually have the first audiobook on in my Audible account waiting for me. And there have been a couple of times this year where I have had, a spare space in my audio TBR, and I have looked at it and been like, I could read that. I could listen to that right now, but I didn't want to open up another series this year. I wanted to put more effort into finishing the ones that I have already started instead of starting a new one that wasn't even on my TBR or on my radar for this year. So I have been able to restrain myself, but not for long. This will absolutely be a book that I read at the beginning of the year, and I am hopeful, if I do like the audiobooks and I'm going to continue with them in that way, I'm hopeful that I'll be able to listen to them in fairly quick succession and that I'll be able to start and finish this series within the year. So we will keep our fingers crossed for that. But this just really seems like it is up my alley. And I have read a couple of works of nonfiction that center around female biologists in the last little while. And it really has me excited for this series. So I, again, am hopeful that this is going to be one that is a new favorite. And I'm please don't let me be let down by this, because I feel like I have built my expectations probably more than any other series on this list. My expectations are so high for this one because I just feel like it could be precisely for me. It is an intersection of so many of the things that I like, and I just feel like it could be perfect for my personal fantasy tastes, and I really, really hope that that is the case. The third series is the Regante, I believe that is how you pronounce it, the Regante series by David Gemmell. I have read, excuse me, I'm still getting over the cold / flu / whatever it was that went through our house. So I'm still a little bit raspy, but hopefully it's not too bad. But I have read a fair amount of David Gemmell now, so I've made it through a couple of standalones. I mean, Legend is technically, I read it as a standalone, but I will go back and read the other Dress books. So I have read Legend. I've read, what's the other one? I read Morning Star was one of the ones that can function as a standalone, which is kind of like a Robin Hood retelling. And then the Troy trilogy and the Greek series. So the next one that I would love to read is the Regante series. And I believe that I'm going to be reading this with a couple of friends next year, which is going to be fun. David Gemmell's books are a lot of fun to read with other people because in that like classic heroic fantasy vein, there's always a lot of big moments, like and a lot of endings that unfold in very big and explosive ways. Like think John Gwynne, if you read more modern fantasy in that style where things are moving really fast paced and you know that there's going to be this like huge culmination at the end. So that is what I have come to look forward to from books by David Gemmell, and that makes them really fun to read with friends. So I'm hoping that this will be a good experience for all of us. I honestly don't know how many books are in this series. I probably should have looked that up before I started giving this video, but this is another one that I think, just based on the pacing and the fact that I'm reading it with other people who are big David Gemmell fans as well, makes me believe that we could probably make it through this one over the course of the year as well. So I will keep my fingers crossed that we can do so. After that, we have the City Watch sub-series of Discworld. So this year, because we're still in 2022, I finished the Death sub-series and absolutely loved it. I love Death. I love the death of rats. I love Susan. So many of these characters. And it's fun to see other characters who you know are from other Discworld series pop into the story. And I want to get more of their history, more of their backstory, and stories that are focused on them. So when I first watched Alan's video over at the Library of Alexandria, which I can link below, about where to start with Discworld and how to read Discworld, the two series that he recommended as good points for beginners were the Death series and the City Watch series. And initially when I watched that, I thought that the Death books might appeal to my taste a little bit more. And that's why I decided to start with Mort and then continue on from there. And I had a great time with them, loved each one even more than the one that came before. I really enjoyed seeing the evolution of Terry Pratchett's writing style, how comfortable he became in this world, and how he just kind of lets all of his talents loose the longer he sticks with the series. So I am really looking forward to the City Watch books. I've heard great things about Guards. I know for lots of people, it is their favorite Discworld novel. I know that this sub-series is a favorite for many, including Alan over at the Library of Alexandria and Andrew from Andrew's Wizardly Reads. So I am beyond pumped to start this one. I think that I will do this one by audio as well. I really liked doing the Death books on audio, and I don't own any of Pratchett's books. And if I do love the City Watch books, then I'll probably want to get those really nice British editions, like the hardcover ones, and they're not really readily available in Canada. Like I would have to order them from the UK. So I'd like to listen to them on audio first, and then if I really love this sub-series, then I can order those ones and get them come in and have them for my bookshelf. But really looking forward to this. I feel like you need a lighthearted, funny fantasy series to mix in with all of the heavier, epic or grimdark kind of fantasy that you read. So I'm hopeful that City Watch will be that for me, and it will be easy to intersperse these as palate cleanser type books throughout the year. I think there might be 7, maybe 8 City Watch books. I don't entirely remember either. This would have been a really handy thing to write down on this cue card, but unfortunately I didn't do that. But there are more City Watch books than there are Death books, and there were 5 Death books. So I think it might be like 7 or 8 of them, but looking forward to doing that. After the City Watch, we have A Chorus of Dragons. So this is a series that a bunch of friends on my Discord read this year, and it was the one series that gave me the most regret about not joining a buddy read ever. Because number one, the people who are reading it flew through the series. These must be phenomenally paced because people just flew through them so quickly. There was so much discussion. There were so many like big reveals and people being surprised and speculating. Anyway, I kept the whole chat. I kept the channel on the Discord even when they were finished their buddy read because I want to be able to go back and look through those messages because I was in pain every time they were reading one of those books and I couldn't look at all the spoiler blocks and see what they were talking about because I really, really wanted to. And I think that a couple of them might even come back and reread a few of the books with me when I am going through them. At the very least, I know that they'll be happy to chat about them with me. So I am looking forward to that. Again, I keep saying this for every series. There's no way I'm starting and finishing all these series next year, but it all seems so possible here, before the beginning of the year when you're still full of hope and you're optimistic about all the reading goals you can accomplish. They seem to go through them really quickly and really enjoy them. So who knows? Maybe this will be my binging series for the year. Like when last year, for example, I did Greatcoats and I did John Gwynn's books just in a chunk. Like within a week, I read the Greatcoats series. Within a week, I read the first of John Gwynn's quartet. Those are books that I just could not put down. So maybe that will be the equivalent for me in the fantasy realm in 2023. Let's hope so, because I don't think I really binged through any series this year. This was a much more sedate reading year. I definitely read a lot of things. I enjoyed a lot of series, but it was a more leisurely pace. So we need something fun and exciting that I can just whip through in 2023. And then the last large fantasy series, or I guess it's not even really that large, but the last fantasy trilogy that I have on this list is the Rook and Rose series. So this is the one that started with Mask of Mirrors. And then Mask of Mirrors, which was book 1 and book 2, both came out last year. So they came out within a very short time of one another. And I believe the final book comes out in 2023. Again, I'm not entirely sure, but I just know that I want to read this series. I actually picked up the first book, Mask of Mirrors, on Kindle when it was on sale. So I got it for $2.99 or something. And I have heard really good things about it. From what I know, it is a Venetian setting and that there is a heist that is involved. I think there's a lot of hidden identities and trying to figure out who people are and what role they're playing. So it sounds like the kind of shady political maneuvering that's not... It's not high politics as in a Game of Thrones style thing, but there is a lot of mystery and a lot of hidden identity and those kinds of things. So I am looking forward to the series. I think it will feel a little bit different than the others, but people whose reading tastes tend to align with mine have read this series and really enjoyed it. And that's what makes me optimistic that I am also going to like it. This is the one where I probably have the most tempered expectations because I don't know that much about the series. I just know that I've heard a lot of people talk about it, that I already bought the first book. So it seems like a good series to actually get started in 2023 instead of buying even more books that I haven't read yet because I have enough. I have enough physical books that I need to get through that I don't need to be buying other series that I need to start. So I thought this is one I already own. People have had really positive things to say about it. It's one that I could probably start and wrap up fairly quickly. And that was really all that I needed. So like I said, this one, if it doesn't blow me away, it's okay because my expectations are just regular. They're not low, they're not high, they're just, average, and I am hopeful that it will be a good reading experience. Those are all of the fantasy series. I do have a couple of manga series that I want to read in 2023. So I would like to read the series Tokyo Ghoul. This is a series that my husband read this year and really loved. He had watched the anime previously, and it's really funny because I've been talking to Patrick about manga series that I wanted to read that were not too long, limited. They, all the volumes were out and we were discussing which ones could be possible. And when he said Tokyo Ghoul, I said, oh, Andrew really loves that anime, but I haven't watched it. And Patrick's like, no, the manga is way better. And when I talked to my husband, he was like, I really liked the anime. I don't understand. Then he read the manga and he was like, okay, I understand now. So apparently there are some choices that are made in the anime that are different than, or maybe not to the liking of everybody who really loved the series. So now I am intrigued. And this will be the first time that I get to read a series and then watch the anime afterward. Because I always say that I prefer anime because I like the music. For some reason, I like watching these stories more than I enjoy reading them. But this will be my first opportunity to read something and then watch afterward. And we will see how that goes. I'm intrigued to see what I will think of it and how I will feel about it. But I've heard that this is really dark, really sad. So I will choose it at a time when I'm in the mood for something kind of gloomy and moody and dark. And speaking of gloomy and moody and dark, the other manga series that I want to start in 2023 is Berserk. This is another one that was on my 2022 list that I just did not get around to. I have the first couple deluxe editions of Berserk. I think it's a story I'm really going to like. All of my friends tell me it's a story I'm really going to like. I really want to read it. I just didn't get around to it last year. So I am putting it on the list for this year. I am going to prioritize it. I really would like to start it. And then I can go and start to watch everybody's videos that they've made about it, because a bunch of my friends have made a lot of Berserk content that I'm sure is amazing. I just can't watch it because I haven't read it yet. So I would like to be able to do that. And so I will start that hopefully early in the year and then continue on throughout the rest of the year. But those are it. Those are my 8 high or top priority series for 2023. These are the things that I really want to start, that I am looking most forward to reading. And I would love to hear from you guys what series you are starting in 2023. Are there other series that I have talked about or that we have talked about together that you are expecting me to read in 2023? Let me know, because I can't remember everything that I ever mentioned. And if there's other series that you would like to see me read, series that you either really enjoy or that you've been curious about that you would like to hear about, I would love to know, and I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody else is picking up next year. I'll see you with another video soon. Bye!